Massive merchandise, great marketing, very unique, but at the same time, nothing particularly groundbreaking in what they've done. Iconic.
Ready to hear this.
Nirvana.
Oh, you've dropped it there, man. You've dropped it.
Drop the bomb, man.
I agree.
But what are they? Are they underrated or are they overrated?
Oh, I think they are overrated. But it's one of them. There's so much to unpack here because they were a revolutionary band, and you can't take that away. But
there's levels to it, isn't there? There really is levels to it. There's the songwriting, which is musicianship wise really simple, but songwriting wise really catchy, incredible, and to do it in such a unique genre was groundbreaking. Right? They're iconic. Everyone knows who Nirvana is. Everyone knows who Kurt Cobain is. Everyone knows the Nirvana logo with the daft little smiley face and the tongue. Dave Grohl, obviously, a byproduct of Nirvana. Super, super talented musician and songwriter in his own right. But, again, everyone knows who Nirvana is.
I had a bit of a Nirvana listen not too long ago, and I listened to the Nevermind album, and then I listened to the MTV Unplugged album, and I was not super impressed. When I was a kid, we're talking 13, 14, I loved Nirvana. Like pretty much every other kid from our kind of generation growing up. I loved them.
They were a gateway. They were a massive gateway for me into the alt rock world.
Same here, definitely. They really were kind of like pretty much like most kind of teenagers. Like I idolized Kurt Cobain. I fucking had my hair like him. I was all into that whole like grunge aesthetic. I loved it. As I got older, I found myself listening to them less and less, and then it got to a point where I would listen to them and I'd be sat there and I'd be like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can relate to that. So for a lot of people, music is like a time capsule, isn't it? And it brings you back to a certain place, and it can even make you smell certain smells, see certain colours, and I can relate to that massively. But with Nirvana now, I listen to Nirvana out of a nostalgia buzz of, Heart-Shaped Box, what a great song. Timeless. Makes me think of when I was a teenager and I used to love Heart-Shaped Box and like Smells Like Teen Spirit. These days, I can't really listen to Smells Like Teen Spirit, and there's probably a few reasons for that. So in the first ever band I was in, we covered Smells Like Teen Spirit, and admittedly, part and parcel of the whole grunge and the punk movement really is that anyone can pick up a guitar, chuck a bit of distortion on it, and you can play it. Smells Like Teen Spirit is a basic song to play. It's your gateway guitar song. You pick up guitar, one of the first songs you learn is Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it's really catchy, really effective.
It was one of mine.
It's great. There's nothing wrong with it, but I can't now go back and listen to that song and thoroughly enjoy it unless I'm in a club, in like an alt rock club, and it comes on, everyone's like, "Well, yeah, Smells Like Teen Spirit, yeah, when the lights out, it's just dangerous." Like, but you can't, like, I wouldn't listen to that out of choice.
I wouldn't either. Like when in one of my previous jobs where I kind of just had the radio on a lot in my van as I went from job to job, I'd listen to like Radio X, which is like kind of like Britain's kind of generic, it kind of indie rock, alt rock kind of station. They would play Teen Spirit from time to time. I always enjoyed it, and I always like really liked kind of like the atmosphere, and there really is an energy to that song that is like a lightning in a bottle kind of moment. But I'm never sitting there and I'm never like, you know what, Dying's Way smells like Teen Spirit. But I'm like that with any other Nirvana. I'm just like, there isn't much from them that from my recent re-listen. No, I didn't listen to Bleach. I didn't listen to In Utero. But
I personally thought In Utero is their best album. Yeah. But again, I also, as someone that values studio albums, and I know how much you also value studio albums, I think Nirvana are probably, and this is going to offend a lot of people, are probably best kept to a greatest hits.
I would agree, because when I was listening to them, there were moments where I actually cringed. Like, you know, when Kurt Cobain would squeal and scream at the top of his lungs and stuff like that. Back in the day, you'd listen to like, whoa, this isn't what the Rolling Stones did. This isn't what the Beatles did. This isn't what fucking any of these generic bands did. And the thing is with Nirvana and grunge, and it's a whole thing that I'm fascinated with, is it killed any rock band, any metal band or anything like that was around at the time. Never recovered from Nirvana. Iron Maiden as you previously mentioned, prime example. After Nirvana, when the 90s came around, their albums changed, and they changed for the worst. And it was kind of known as their dark period, their kind of flop period, you know what I mean? Same with like all these bands like Van Halen and all that, all these metal bands, they died a death, and it was all because of the grunge movement. And in a way, I think it was a good way to it was like the meteorite that wiped out the dinosaurs. And I think
in the rock world only, really.
Yeah, in the rock world, yeah. When you say overrated and you kind of go look at that, it's like what influence they had. The influence was massive, and you can't take that away. The thing is, as you going back to bands and being in a band, I played gigs a bit more recently than you did. The amount of people that were just being Nirvana on that scene was like ridiculous, to the point where it was like you're wearing your influence on your sleeve, and then you're just full on copying your favourite.
Bear in mind, this is like 30 years on. This is 30 years from Nirvana now. We're in 2024, and you're talking like what, a year, 2 years ago?
A couple of years ago. Obviously, I'm not going to throw shade, but I remember one band in particular that I played with when I was in Saturn Split. Two of their songs I distinctively picked up straight away, that they were the same chords, same notes as two Nirvana songs, and I was just like, that's a bit scummy. But we're getting off on a tangent here. But I think it goes to show like the influence of them. But I do think, well, we never really came up with a thing. I would say overrated to an extent.
It's one of them, isn't it? That at the time, obviously, he was very iconic and stuff, and he obviously passed away, and he's left a legacy that you feel he's done. What was the term it's used in Batman? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And again with Tupac, Tupac's a man with criminal records for not very nice things, and died a legend, died an icon, died a hero. But if they'd have lived to their full lives, would they be lauded in quite the same bracket? Who knows? I look at it in and you're going to love this, Metallica. To compare it to Metallica, right? If
they're one of my overrateds I was going to bring up.
Well, sorry, but they have released some bad albums as the years have gone on. But if they'd have stopped mid-90s, they'd have been regarded as never releasing a bad album and incredible. But they've released so many duds since 2000 onwards.